Good morning and welcome. It's Corporate Governance Platform brought to you by the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN. I am Funmi Omoburiu. ICSAN is the leading recognized professional body in Nigeria that's dedicated to enhancing status and practice of corporate governance and public administration. ICSAN is the only professional body in Nigeria that is authorized to conduct examinations leading to the qualification of chartered secretaries and administrators. On the program this morning, we want to look at role of ethics in business and influence on corporate brand. Role of ethics in business and influence on corporate brand. All right, my guest is right here in the studio. I have the pleasure of introducing Dr. SOPHIA ABIRI-FRANKLYIN, FCIS. She's a governance specialist. Good morning, Dr. ABIRI-FRANKLYIN.
Good morning, Funmi. A pleasure to be here this morning. And good morning, our listeners on air.
All right, thank you for joining us. Also here is Mr. Kayode. I wanted to say Dr. Kayode Ketef. Mr. Kayode Ketef, FCIS, Head of Research, ICSAN. Good morning, Mr. Ketef. And compliment of the season.
Good morning, Funmi. Good morning to you, our guest, Dr. SOPHIA ABIRI-FRANKLYIN, and all our listeners out there. Good morning and sister greetings.
All right, let's take this message. We'll be right back.
The world is constantly evolving into a knowledge-based economy where skills and competencies constitutes the lifeblood of public and corporate governance. You therefore need to empower yourself to fit into this new world by gaining basic knowledge and improving your skill set in the governance-focused disciplines. That is why every aspiring as well as practicing professional in governance field needs ICSAN.
ICSAN. What is ICSAN?
ICSAN is a leading statutorily established professional body dedicated to enhancing the status and practice of corporate governance and public administration. ICSAN members are trained as chartered secretaries and administrators.
Who are chartered secretaries and administrators?
Chartered secretaries are high-ranking governance professionals with a broad base of skills, unique amongst other professions. They are trained in law, finance, accounting, administration, strategy development, and corporate governance. In today's world, chartered secretaries and administrators discharge a wide range of duties and responsibilities, including functioning as chairmen of companies, executive directors, non-executive directors, company secretaries, risk managers, compliance managers, board evaluators, and corporate governance evaluators.
That is interesting. How then do I become a chartered secretary and administrator?
Good. Go to the Institute's website, www.icsan.org. You can also visit the National Secretariat of ICSAN at Plot 6, Elephant Cement Way, Alausa, Ikeja, Lagos, to get full information on how to become members. ICSAN, the hub of governance professionals.
All right, ICSAN, definitely the hub of governance professionals. As I said earlier, we're looking at role of ethics in business and influence on corporate brand. All right, Dr. ABIRI-FRANKLYIN, let's start this. We want to talk about ethics. What exactly are we talking about?
Yeah, ethics. Well, ethics refers to the moral principles and values that guide individual and collective behavior. It involves distinguishing between right and wrong, making decisions based on principles such as honesty, integrity, fairness, respect for others, and responsibility. Ethics provides a framework for evaluating the morality of actions and decisions, and it encompasses various ethical theories and perspectives that help individuals and organizations navigate complex ethical dilemmas. In the context of business, ethics plays a crucial role in guiding responsible conduct, decision-making, and interactions with stakeholders, thereby shaping the corporate culture and reputation of the company.
All right, great. Now, how does ethical culture relate with corporate governance?
Well, ethical culture and corporate governance are closely related, and the ethical culture of an organization significantly impacts its corporate governance. And here's how the two are interconnected. You have guiding principles The ethical culture, for instance, provides the guiding principles and moral framework for corporate governance. It shapes the values, behaviors, and decision-making processes within the organization, influencing the overall governance structures. The other ways they are related is accountability and responsibility. Of course, for an ethical culture promotes accountability and responsibility at all levels of the organization, aligning with the principles of good corporate governance. It emphasizes transparency, integrity, and ethical conduct in decision making and operations. You also have stakeholder trust, you have the risk management, you have compliance and ethics programs, decision making processes. In summary, ethical culture is fundamental to the effective functioning of corporate governance, as it provides the ethical foundation for governance practices, promotes stakeholder trust, supports risk management, and guides decision-making processes within the organization.
All right, so that's the relation, but let's look at the impact, how the ethical culture impacts. Let's expatiate a bit on that, on corporate brand.
Yeah, for how the ethical culture impacts on corporate branding. Now, an ethical culture within a company has a significant impact on its corporate brand. For instance, the ethical culture influences and shapes the corporate brand in so many ways, one of which are trust and credibility. An ethical culture fosters trust and credibility both internally and externally. For instance, when I talk about internally, I mean within the employees of the company, the management, and it makes them have trust in the organization. And then externally, you have stakeholders. For instance, when a company operates with honesty, integrity, and transparency, it builds trust among its employees, its customers, suppliers, and other stakeholders. This trust contributes to a positive reputation and enhances the credibility of the corporate brand. Now, the next thing is reputation and image. Ethical behavior contributes to a positive reputation and image for the company. A strong ethical culture signals to the public that the company is committed to doing the right thing, treating stakeholders fairly, and upholding high moral standards. This positive reputation enhances the corporate brand and can lead to increased customer loyalty and positive word of mouth. For instance, if something happens in an organization, for instance, and you hear that, I really don't want to mention any brand, let's say a particular bank.
Okay.
You heard that, the bank heard that there was something that happened, and they quickly went there and they responded and they shared gifts, and it's an emotional thing. And let's say that bank, a particular bank, subsequently goes on a market campaign to open new accounts. The market people, what they'll remember is, we remember during the last crisis, we remember during COVID, we remember during this particular organization, this particular brand responded this, because of this. Some people, out of the sentiment, would even close their account and just to bank just because of that. Why? Because this particular bank or brand has a particular culture of empathy. They respond to the society, and such things, the reputation in itself, it has a ripple effect on the profitability of the company. That's on reputation and image. Another thing it fosters is customer loyalty and satisfaction. What I mean here is that the ethical behavior of companies influences the customer loyalty and satisfaction. Customers are more likely to support companies that demonstrate ethical conduct and social responsibility. A strong ethical culture can lead to increased customer loyalty, positive customer experiences, and a higher level of satisfaction with the brand. You see, just like I spoke about reputation and image, the same thing with customer loyalty. There's a strong ethical culture of any company has a ripple effect. It goes far and beyond, above and beyond whatever they are trying to say. So you were talking about culture is very important, and I would like our listeners to actually pay attention. Another issue here is employee engagement and retention. Remember when we started this conversation on how it relates, we talked about it helps internally and externally. So when we're talking about employee engagement and retention, we're talking about how it affects, fosters corporate governance internally. Now, an ethical culture contributes to higher levels of employee engagement and retention, in the sense that when employees feel that their company operates with integrity, treats them fairly, they are more likely to be motivated and committed to their work. This positive employee experience contributes to a strong corporate brand as an employer of choice. So the company, for instance, or the organization does not have issues about worrying about staff retention, because the culture in itself is strongly entrenched in the staff, that they want to stay because they believe in the management. And then it gives the company competitive advantage. Ethical behavior can provide a competitive advantage in the marketplace. Companies with a reputation for ethical conduct may differentiate themselves from competitors, attract top talent, and appeal socially to social conscious consumer. Like I said, the example I gave earlier on about where a particular brand responds to society when something is happening. You know, some people can even just apply to a particular organization to just, and look, I want to work in this company. I love the way they responded. This company has empathy. I love the way this company treats their staff. They did not ask that particular. We heard what happened to a particular employee of this company, and they kept her. They were paying her for 1 month, for 2 years, even when she was not working. Oh, I love to work in this kind of organization, regardless of the pay. That company already has a competitive advantage. So these are the kind of things we talk about. We want to talk about ethical conduct and the culture of an organization, how it relates to corporate governance. And so finally, I'll talk about crisis management and resilience. In times of crisis or controversy, an ethical culture can help a company weather challenges more effectively. A history of ethical behavior can contribute to public goodwill, support from stakeholders, and greater resilience in the face of adversity. In summary, an ethical culture has a profound impact on corporate brand by building trust, enhancing reputation, fostering customer loyalty, engaging employees, providing a competitive advantage, and contributing to crisis management and resilience. It is a fundamental element in shaping the overall perception of the company in the eyes of its stakeholders and the public.
All right, great. But let me quickly ask this before we wrap this up. You advise the companies and other entities on how to entrench their business ethics. That will be, you know, as a final wrap up, your advice to them, to companies and other entities, on how to entrench this, you know, business ethics that we've talked about.
Okay, so firstly, before I talk about give my advice to companies and other entities on how they can entrench business ethics. The issue of business ethics, we're not just discussing it from our mind. There's actually a code that has been propagated for this.
Yes.
And it's the FRCM, the Code of Corporate Governance. And in that code, we have principles 24 and 25 that talks about ethical and business conduct, which talks about that companies should actually create standards and put schemes in place to ensure that the ethical culture is entrenched in organization. And in principle 25 actually talks about the code of business conduct that will guide against insider trading, conflict of interest, and will ensure disclosure in every act of directors and members of the company. And so my advice to companies and other entities on how this ethical conduct can be entrenched in the company, the business ethics, is that within companies, it's important to establish strong ethical foundation and create a culture that prioritizes ethical behavior at all levels of the organization. First and foremost, the company has to create a governance or compliance department. Then they have to appoint a governance officer or a governance consultant to champion the underlisted advice. Of course, where do you find this governance consultant? The Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators is a place to go. Our members are thoroughbred governance consultants, are well trained in issues of corporate governance and consulting, and everything about the administration of how this ethical conduct can be entrenched. Our members are well trained to give you the consultancy. And what some of the things a company can do is to develop a code of conduct as provided by the Code of Corporate Governance that says each company should develop a code of conduct. What would this code do? It will create a comprehensive, is a document that create a comprehensive code that outlines the ethical standards, the values, and expectations of behaviors within the organization. This code should be communicated to all employees and stakeholders. So we're talking about ethics. We don't just, the company, you cannot just expect people to know what ethics are. You have to let them know the behavior, what to do, what not to do. And then this code will talk about the companies, we talk about ethical leadership. It talks about ethics training and education. Companies would pay attention and make efforts to train their staff in ethics training, education, and also incorporate ethics into the performance metrics of how they rate the individuals.
All right.
Following this piece of advice, I believe the companies and other entities can work towards entrenching business ethics as their fundamental component of organizational culture.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sophia ABIRI-FRANKLYIN, FCIS. All right, Mr. Ketefe, announcement?
Thank you very much, Fumi. We just want to remind our listeners that just like our guest has alluded to already, the Institute has great volumes of guidance materials and publications on virtually all major topics, all themes on corporate governance. Let me also add that the training department of our institute also offer regular training on this theme and other topics on governance. You can also access the annual calendar of courses that are being offered by the training department of ICSAN on the institute website, which is www.icsan.org. The training calendar for 2024 is ready and can be accessed on the institute website, which, as I've said, is www.icsan.org. Corporate entities can also request specialized training from ICSAN, especially training as regards training of their directors and top management staff, or any team in corporate governance. So for more information on ICSAN training, please contact Mike on 080-311-00462. For more information on ICSAN training, please contact Mike on 080-3311-00462. Thank you, and seasonal greeting to you once again.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kayode Ketefe, FCIS, Head of Research, ICSAN, and also Dr. Sophia ABIRI-FRANKLYIN, FCIS, Governance Specialist. Thank you for joining us on Corporate Governance Platform this morning. All right, Corporate Governance Platform returns again next week, Wednesday, 10:15 a.m., right here on Eco 89.7 FM. I am Fumi Omoburi. Enjoy the rest of the day.